And hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Gaffing the Truth. Um, how's everybody doing today? How are you doing, Scaps? How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right. It was a pretty laid back day. Didn't do much. Just hung out. Wild weekend. So yeah, I was kind of I planned on really not doing anything and just chilling at home and being lazy and working on some stuff, but ended up just being pretty much out from Saturday to Monday.
Oh, well, hey, that's good, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
um, oh, that's really cool. Sorry, for those people watching this episode, know that we're actually broadcasting live on Twitch and Facebook from Carney Show, and I think I have it set up going through YouTube as well. So pretty cool. Um, as I said, welcome to watching the show. Of course, this also means I have no idea how many people are watching the show at any one given time anymore. But
I could open that up
yeah,
maybe.
like I knew what was going on anyway, so it's fair. So today, for me, let me get that like what was up with me. So for me, I went and saw my family on Saturday because I had my grandniece's graduation party, and but the cool thing about it was the fact is that me and my siblings, there were four of us. We rarely get together. Like it's been like 4 years since we saw each other, and before then it had been like I don't know, like 20 since we all been together at the same room. Like we've like hung out separately, but all four of us in the same room together. Been a long time. That was a lot of fun, even
Oh,
when
that's
dealing
good.
with yeah, even when dealing with like
Yeah.
weird racists.
Yeah. It's fun to deal with your direct family. The rest of them can be a little out there.
Yes, yes, they're a little out there. But today, we thought we'd have fun because we're still playing catch up on our stuff, and we're forever will. But like today, we figured it'd be fun to talk. Like usually, we talk about ghost stuff at the end of the month, but it's the beginning of the month, But just we're being haunted by our past, as it were. But today, we figured it'd be fun to talk about ghosts and specifically haunted objects. Um, so that's always fun to talk about. So I figured a thing I'd want to talk about first is I want to talk about the book box,
Dybbuk.
DYBBUK, Dybbuk, the Dybbuk box,
Dybbuk. The
Dybbuk box.
Yeah, I actually had that one pulled up specifically as well. I love the Dybbuk box and what has become of like not necessarily the original Dybbuk box, but all the new Dybbuk boxes.
Yeah, because what's really interesting, the fact is the person who made it famous is a guy who's like fucking ridiculous, which is Zach Baggins. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
really, just he's because like the most quote unquote famous one is in his personal collection. Um,
Yeah,
and for those people who are not aware, what a Dybbuk box is basically is is a box which has a Dybbuk in it. A Dybbuk is a Jewish demon, for lack of a better term,
mm-hmm.
which was the inspiration for the 2012 film called The Possession, which I believe had what's his name, dude from what
I
the
never
fuck is
saw the
his name?
movie.
Jeff something or other. He was like the dad for Supernatural, and he was like one of the bad guys on The Walking Dead for a minute. Uh, but the reason why that one was interesting because it gained attention because it was supposedly it was auctioned back on eBay in 2001. Who claims he bought it he auctioned it off in 2001. He claimed because he bought it in an estate sale, and that the original owner was supposedly an owner of the Holocaust. Then, of course, dude saw shenanigans with the paranormal nature, including horrific nightmares. Uh, but what's really crazy is that the most famous thing back in 2018, Post Malone, who was everybody's favorite, I don't know what, ended up playing with it and stuff like that, and has since had issues. I mean, he stopped playing rap. He's now like just remaking like Nirvana songs. So I guess he is possessed. I don't know. But yeah,
Who
the Dybbuk
knows?
box. And Zach Baggins,
Yeah,
Paranormal Adventures bullshit. or Ghost Adventure.
The
Sorry.
new wave Divic boxes aren't like this one. The original is like beautiful, and you can open it, and there's a stone, and yeah, just other pieces in there. But the new wave Divic boxes are a lot smaller and just covered in wax. And they say you break the seal, and that's how you release the demon. And a lot of people are doing them. I spent $200 on the dark web, and they sent me this box, and it's usually like fake murder stuff and a Dybbuk box, and like I wonder what's in the wax covered box. Like this video if you think I should open it, and yeah,
Yes, like that shit. I'm gonna watch you. I'm gonna laugh hysterically.
yeah, right,
You bought shit.
yeah,
Uh,
you spent $200 on garbage.
but yeah, whatever. But yeah, that is a haunted object people can have if you really want to, if you believe in such things. I
Yeah, it's
supposedly
one of
own
those.
some haunted stuff, but
It's fairly common enough, like that people know about it, but like there's a ton of like stuff that is old as shit, cursed. There's diamonds, there's pieces of, there's chairs, there's weaponry, there's all kinds of stuff that people claim is haunted. There's skulls. um like, I mean, I love antique stores. Sometimes you get a weird vibe in an antique store just from all the old stuff in there. But I bought a lot of shit from antique stores, and I don't, yeah, I don't think I've ever brought anything home like that. But I found this one, and this one's pretty funny, and I need to dig up a little more because the description ends a little abruptly. But so Elmo, the popular Sesame Street character, had a doll version of it launched who was programmed to memorize his owner's name. A young boy, James Bowman, was a big fan of Elmo, so his mother decided to gift him one on his 10th birthday. However, a few days later, the Elmo doll began to chant, "Kill James," continuously. This made his mom throw away the cursed toy. After a couple of years, other such incidents came to light regarding the Elmo doll. Like, like after it was thrown away, or did the kid like just talk about it later?
um,
But yeah, it's just a regular Elmo doll, and like the reason this one caught my eye is because I remember this happening. I was like out in like middle school or elementary school or something when it happened. No, more likely middle school, because I don't think I was watching like Sesame Street and stuff at that point. Because I
yeah,
never had like Elmo dolls or anything like that.
10 seems a little old for a kid to be into Elmo.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I think I was I think I was like, maybe seventh or eighth grade when I heard this story, and it was cool to just find it on this list.
Yeah, yeah, Elmo. Yeah, so I call shenanigans only because the fact is I don't believe unless now I preface this by saying that I'm assuming this is a I don't want to say no like a not a special education child for lack of a better term. Just because if that's the case, then Elmo might be progressing that far. But if this is like a normal Joe Schmo kid, I call shenanigans. I don't believe.
Yeah, like what it makes me think of is like the kid, maybe like when it was programming it, he said something like call me, it said call me
Call me
before his
James.
name or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, call me James, or it was like kill James, kill James. Yeah.
No.
Or who knows, man? Maybe it
Yeah. No.
was cursed. It was the ghost of Elmo is going to be haunting that kid for the rest of his life.
Well, I mean, because I'm fucking Elmo. Dude, like took Grover's job, and Grover was far cooler. Fuck
Grover
Elmo.
was way cooler. See, I think Elmo came along later, because I remember like Grover and Oscar the Grouch being my favorites,
Well, yeah, Elmo did
and
come in
Animal.
later. Yeah, like because I had Sully. Okay, so like the original monster, it looks like Elmo was like Sully, and Sully had a kid named Elmo, and that's how it
Yeah, Sully
started.
was the blue one, right?
No, Sully was also red. He just was an
Oh, the red
adult
one.
version
Yeah,
of
there was
Elmo.
also a
Yeah,
blue one, but yeah, I remember Sully.
yeah.
I didn't
Sully
know
was
that was
like,
Elmo's dad.
yeah, I believe that was his
Man,
dad because
man,
like they
Sully
look
got some
alike.
pussy.
I don't know how
Wow.
monsters. I don't know how monsters
Good,
propagate.
good for
Uh,
Sully. Good for Sully. Unless,
I
well,
don't know.
shit, there's no mom around. Maybe, I don't know, man. I don't even want to know. Never mind. Sully is bad.
Yeah, so it's one of those things I just go. So that's just like a weird sort of thing. Um, Speaking of weird sort of things, let's talk about there's this thing called the dark mirror. Dark mirror. Ooh. So supposedly there's actually a traveling museum of the mysterious and the occult, paranormal and the occult that travels around. They have this thing called the dark mirror. Um, and it's basically a mysterious reflector which basically takes on a life of its own. So the original owner who had it had purchased it while attending a psychic fair in the Columbus area. The same owner said they were struck with very upsetting visions when gazing upon into this scrying mirror's dark reflection. So essentially, it's a scrying mirror. Um,
Mhm.
Now, anybody like, and
I've heard
did
about
any?
this one before. Like, there's a lot of claims. Like, they would show people who people would either see themselves age and then expire, or they wouldn't see anything at all, or they'd see people behind them. It was like it was a crazy mirror.
Yeah, supposedly, like since it's even joined the collection of the museum, is that people who gaze upon it will still see things like their own corpse or nothing at all when gazing into the glass.
Yeah. I feel like this is gonna come up a lot because is are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say?
What do you think I'm going to say?
That it's owned by Zach Bagans now.
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's like not there. Maybe
No,
now since I've read
it
the
is.
thing, but
It is owned by Zach Bagans
oh,
now.
fucking Zach Bagan. Oh my god, this asshole. Oh my god. Don't
I
watch that
literally just
show.
watched
It's
it.
horrible.
I, that's actually one of my like I don't believe shit from that show. Some of the stuff like it's like oh that was cool or that's weird, but like it's I don't believe the shit. And mostly Joe and I watch it just to laugh at Zach.
I mean, it's horrible. And like like if you even thought about even kind of believing in the paranormal, watching that show go, "Yep, nope, really doesn't exist because of that asshole."
Yeah, a fly landed on my arm. Could this fly represent the owner of the previous owner of the house who died here horrifically? Like no, it's just a fucking fly, dickhead. Fuck off.
Yeah. It's just no. Fucking Zach Bagan.
Yeah.
Ah,
He's like, all of a sudden, I'm really angry. And it's like, maybe you need medication because it happens to you a lot. Like,
maybe eat a fucking sandwich. I don't know. What
yeah, I know,
just
right? You're not yourself when you're hungry. It's actually been Betty White on the show the whole time.
see that I would be down for that. That would be amazing.
And I came across this one that was pretty interesting. As far as I know, Zach Bagans hasn't bought this Bulgarian phone number yet because it's shut down. But the number 359-888-888-888, which was in use for 10 years and is now closed. The reason behind deactivating the number lies in the death of those three people who used it. All of the owners of this number died shortly after getting the number registered on their name. The first owner died of cancer, while the other two were shot down without any solid motive.
You know
That's
what it
my
was?
phone number. Clap, clap, clap.
It's actually the European version of 8675309 is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. People got tired. Like, oh, you called me? I'm coming after you now.
Well, it's like it's a Bulgarian. I think I was looking at this too, and like it's like from like one of the people that died was like supposed some Bulgarian crime boss who got shot and like who got just like crazy shit, which I found fascinating. But it's but no, it's just like really weird and crazy. But the validity of that, I don't know. It's just a thing. Um, you know, you too can own a piece of Hollywood history if you really wanted to. Like if you wanted to, you could actually own a piece of the infamous ride that James, the ride. I mean, like vehicle that James Dean rode on before he was killed, because that Porsche Spider 5500, also known as Little Bastard, that's the name of his car, supposedly is haunted. So, according to legend, the ride was purchased by car customizer George Barris, and not Barris, the guy who created the Gong Show Barris. Uh, but his mechanic just trying to unload the car, got seriously hurt. Then Barris allegedly sold off the parts, and that's when things got crazy. Like, first off, two Beverly Hills doctors got into an accident with each other, killing one of them shortly after repairing their own cars with pieces from Little Bastard. Another
Wow.
man died when the tires from his Spider that he installed on his car exploded on its first outing. Guess where he got those tires from? And then legend tells
Bum,
it
bum, bum.
And legend has it that a similar fate befell the driver of an 18-wheeler who finally relieved Barris of the last ride. So that car, basically, who had what was left of the car, I guess like the frame, some dude bought it, and then that guy died too. So yeah, owning a piece of this, supposedly there's pieces of this car still out there. So if you want to, so if you're into getting Porsche Spiders, uh, those aftermarket parts are a bitch. A deadly bitch. Or bastard. A bastard. A deadly bastard. Dun dun dun. So yeah. Haunted objects.
That's interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, that just seemed, maybe it was just like faulty parts.
That's why it broke in the first place. It's
Yeah,
valid.
that's why they like stopped making the spider. And I found this one, and I've actually heard about other paintings like this, haunted paintings like this. And this is the painting of the Crying Boy, which was created by artist Giovanni Bragolin and became famous quickly. It was then mass-produced and was found in many homes across Britain. However, soon many of these homes mysteriously caught fire. But the most disturbing part of the entire incident was that no matter how severe the fire was, the painting remained absolutely fine. Some regarded these fires as mere coincidences, but the undamaged paintings have not been bagged by a valid explanation till date. That's a lie. They actually found one of these paintings because a lot of people like straight up like heard about this story and threw the painting away immediately. They were like, "No, I don't want this painting. Fuck that." But they found one.
Okay.
There's a couple other paintings out there that like it didn't burn and it's cursed, but then there's the stories of my sister burnt up in her trailer because she was smoking a cigarette in bed and she fell asleep, but the Bible on her nightstand was completely untouched. God is amazing. It's like, your sister fucking died. Who cares about a Bible?
Right? No, yeah, no, to kind of tack onto that as far as another fun story. And for me, that's what I feel these are. They're stories. They're cool. They're funny or fun. They're just interesting. Um, but so in the from the there's a town in Massachusetts called Freetown, uh, where back in the 70s, some kid on poster board wrote the Lord's Prayer backwards in his own blood, and then threw it up on behind a nativity scene because that what else are you gonna do with it? I don't know. So so what he did, then what happened was like this one guy found it, and no matter what he did, once he took it home, no matter what he did, he'd lock it away, put it behind something. Anytime he did so, it would just magically be in his living room, just sitting there for you to stare at it. Sometimes with a knife in it. Isn't that fun? Like what's like so like this one guy who did it. So when he stashed it under his bed, he and his wife would have horrible nightmares. When he rented a pod for their home move, the board would magically surface on top of whatever they were looking for. Uh, but and then when he tried to mail it back to somebody, uh, it get even weirder. Like he called for trying to mail it away, and the poster would never make it there. He sealed the package and know for a fact that the seal wasn't broken. And when he received it, uh, it just went out there, but it never arrived to where it was supposed to go. I'm fairly certain that it's probably making its way slowly back to this dude still to this day. So yeah, the Lord's Prayer written in backwards in blood just likes to be seen, I guess, or to give you weird nightmares. But another weird sort of thing that no matter what you do, that thing keeps coming back again and again. So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't be too cursed if it didn't keep coming back.
that's right, right?
And I'm gonna start writing shit in backwards and just like splatter blood on it and be like, cursed, cursed. Leave it places. Draw dick pics in blood and send them to people. You've been you've been visited by the cursed blood dick. You must send 10 blood dicks to your closest friends, or you will get blood dick for the rest of your life.
I wonder how they would work with our dick pic law now in Texas.
It's not a real dick. It's just a drawing of a dick in blood.
That
It's gonna
doesn't,
be a crude
you know what I
drawing.
mean? It's just it's it's not like our Texas
All right,
legislators can
fine. I'm
understand
gonna
that.
have to
Yeah,
resort to drawing a picture of Dick Cheney in blood.
there you go. You know,
Yeah, that makes
Dick Van
sense.
Dyke. Yeah, Dick Van Dyke.
Dick
An
Van Dyke.
unsolicited
Yeah, Dick Tracy. That's my
Dick,
favorite.
Tricky Dick Nixon.
Tricky Dick. Was it Nixon?
Yeah, Nixon. Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff. Go that way.
So we talked about antique stores already. Do you like to go to antique stores?
I do actually. There's a really cool place within walking distance to me called the Uncommon Objects, which is full of weird, random shit in the best possible
I've
way.
I've actually been there. Yeah, it's a really cool shop.
Yeah, it's literally like 2 blocks from my house.
Nice. So there's you ever like you'll see stuff and then you walk to one shop and there's a couple chairs on the ground and then like a chair or two hanging up
Oh yeah,
and it's like weird. Did they just run out of room or is it like Thomas Busby's chair? You ever heard of Thomas Busby?
no.
Popularly known as Busby's stoop chair, this wooden furniture is cursed by the spirit of Thomas Busby, who was known to ruthlessly murder people. Before getting hanged for his crimes, he requested to have a meal in his favorite local pub. Upon finishing his meal, he stood and said, May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit on my chair." And ever since then, 63 people who dared to sit on the chair met untimely and terrifying deaths. Later, the owner of the pub donated the chair to the Thirst Museum UK, and it is still there, hung 1.5 meters off the ground to prevent any other deaths. I think about that story every time I go into an antique store and I see a chair like hanging. This one doesn't go too into it, but like if I remember correctly, regular people who sat in the chair would die. They'd sit in a chair and then get hit by a car, or get into a gunfight, or a lot of them, which probably makes sense why there's 63 people. A lot of them were soldiers who went off to war after having a drink at the pub. So it's like, oh, he sat in the chair, he died.
Or you go into a place where death is all but assured. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's it. I have seen I have gone to places where chairs are hanging out. I just thought it was like some weird choice, like old chair that you can't like usually almost always is like an old like chair that where they strung the seat, but it's like can't trust actually sitting in it anymore. So
Oh yeah,
that's
no, it's more
interesting.
than likely like we don't have room and we don't want to stack the chairs, so let's just hang this one.
Also fair, yeah. Um, now the other fun thing about stuff that happens, and this is for particularly like one of the big rages, and we've even talked about doing this at one point, like the whole idea of going to like inns that are haunted, like haunted inns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and supposedly the one that has the most is what they call the Scott House, which is in Ocala, Florida. Um, so the and it used to all belong by a woman named Elizabeth Scott, hence why it's called the Scott House. Um, Now, in one of the rooms was found an 1893 copy of Sir Walter Scott's classic poem, "The Lady in the Lake," which is a very classic, very lovely poem. Um,
Mm-hmm.
famous. In fact, it's the last piece of the Scott estate, like that hasn't been like moved off to the museum, stuff like that. But what's really weird is like because it's a haunted inn, a lot of these ghost busting shows would go in to kind of go, is this haunted and stuff like that. And and this is like early days, like early when they first started doing this back in the '70s and '80s. But like a film crew would go in, like stay in the attic, 2 stories up, and when they turn on the ceiling fan, somebody would get hit by the book because apparently it was on the ceiling fan thing and just flew off and hit somebody for some reason.
Convenient.
Um, yeah, then the when the crew returned home, they would find the book in their luggage, which they didn't put in there. Uh, Supposedly, it's done everything from like popping into like showing up in places like in the china cabinet, being found in the refrigerator, ending up in the wastebasket for a minute. Um, Basically, it just keeps going to new places, stuff like that, and it like basically it decides who its owner is going to be for a while and kind of mess around, and then it moves off to another owner. So that's the understanding. Is that like I think that's why it ended up at this one lady's house is because it decided you're my owner now, and then it's since moved on once or twice without just people would take a look at it, and then suddenly the book would like them and end up in their space for a while, and so on and so forth. So it's this weird poem that likes to travel around. So yeah, it's a thing.
Hmm. Interesting. I hope he picks me.
We got to find somebody who has the book. So yeah, so I would be interested. I'm curious.
Yeah, right. See if the book likes me. I'm just gonna hand it a note. Do you like me? Check yes or no.
Probably
Get a
not.
paper airplane to the back of the head. It's just the no check crossed out. So I found this one, and I'm gonna have to switch it up because of the name. Let's just say Letta the Romani doll instead of the other word. But according to locals of Romania, a Romanian man handcrafted a doll for his son Letta. Unfortunately, the boy drowned while playing with the doll, and his spirit got trapped inside the doll. The man then decided to give the doll to the son of one of his workers. The child claimed that the doll talked to him, while other successive owners reported that holding the doll or being around it causes a feeling of immense grief and makes them cry without reason. So, like, the doll talks to the kid and makes grown men cry. It's creepy looking fucking doll.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, cute.
adorable. That's yeah, it's adorable. Uh,
But
I
I
don't know.
figured, like, I mean, I've also come across the Robert the doll and the
Well, we've talked
Annabelle,
about
but I
Rob.
didn't want to get into those.
Yeah, well, we talked. We actually had talked about Robert before, so
Oh
I don't
yeah,
think we need to.
it'd be
And then,
different.
yeah, and just then like the Annabelle bullshit.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid talking about what the Warrens.
The fucking Warrens. Why do they keep getting movie deals? God damn it! They've been debunked like 6,000 times, and it keeps coming back.
Because only nerds know that.
It's just
The
it's
general public
crazy.
doesn't know.
No, they just see
The general
Patrick
public
Wilson.
doesn't know that Annabelle's a fucking Raggedy Ann doll.
Well, because that's not as cool as like a weird like marionette thing. I get that. Like basically, it's like because Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who are both amazing actors, are playing in the movie, and it's popular because it was also for the studios love it because they're cheap to make, and so for at least in respect to like the turnaround stuff. So it's just just
Yeah,
yeah.
terrible.
But yeah, but I will talk about instead. So there's this Seattle contractor. So he died. When he died, he willed his tools to his son Jimmy. Now, because of this uncle and Jimmy who chose a career of teaching instead of construction, the uncle actually ended. So the Jimmy ended up giving his cousin Carl the tools. Basically, because Jimmy goes, well, I can't. I'm, I'm teaching. I don't really use these tools. You use tools. Here, you take the tools. So, so here's some weird things that would happen. So for this cousin who started, who had these tools, which are Uncle Webb's tools, by the way. Uncle Webb is the name of the uncle who died. Um, so whenever Carl would get home, the radios would automatically turn on to the Beatles because that was Uncle Webb's favorite group to listen to. Then the tools would show up in weird places, like the wrench would be in the bed, or the content of the actual toolbox would be spread out in like a spiral formation. And of course, nightmares, because, of course, if you're going to have a haunted object, you're going to get hit with nightmares. I think that's pretty natch of what's going on. Carl
Mm-hmm.
started having dreams about his uncle handing him tools and pointing to the door, and he would wake up and the door would always be slightly open. Um, Finally, Carl just got tired of it because of the nightmares and all the other stuff, so he just actually bundled him up and gave him back to the son, uh, who the tools were originally meant to go to. He says the day he gave the tools away, the "Here Comes the Sun" started playing on the radio as he entered the house of this original son. Uh, the basically they always say that the idea is basically that the tools were kind of a tool to say I'm sorry. The tools were a tool, as it were, to say I'm sorry to his estranged son. Basically, I goes, here's my livelihood, like that sort of stuff. But like once, the tools went back with who they're supposed to go to, all other weirdness has ceased. But yeah,
Yeah, he was just stressed and causing his own problems.
yeah,
And then he, the load off his chest to not to think he did something about it. um, this one's kind of gnarly. Never heard of this one before. Um, have you ever heard of the Anguished Man painting?
sounds kind of familiar, but remind me.
It's a cool looking painting. I'll show it in a second. But fascinated by the charm of the Anguished Man painting, Sean Robinson inherited the painting from his grandmother and decided to hang the painting on the wall of his house. Soon after that, Sean and his family started experiencing paranormal events like cracking of the doors in the middle of the night and sudden blood-curdling screams coming from nowhere. Sean's wife decided to investigate the origin of the painting and found that the artist who painted the painting committed suicide, and before doing that, he mixed his own blood with the paint that he used in making the painting. Learning this, the couple decided to hide the painting in the basement of the house in Cumbria.
Okay,
I don't know, man. I kind of like this painting. I'd hang it up.
that's what we're yeah, we'd be the ones haunted. Yeah, it makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah, it's a cool painting.
No, it is cool. I like it a lot. I would have it up somewhere.
Hell yeah.
So when it comes to what's up?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I've been
I
talking like
found one. I'm
another.
just gonna save it for next week, though.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Because we still got like 25 minutes or so. Another fun thing. A lady had went to some yard sale and bought like this really just an ugly filing cabinet. Needed a filing cabinet, found one cheap, went like that. Um, $5 for like a big, huge, like 4 drawer filing cabinet. That's a great deal. Um, but unfortunately, problems started happening the moment she bought it. Like literally, she put it into her car. The car stalled out and couldn't start. Uh, Her husband came by with his truck, put the cabinet in the truck, and then it wouldn't start. Once they actually finally got it home, The new owner, she started having weird, repetitive dreams about a '60s vintage Donna Reed lookalike trying to start up conversations with her in the kitchen. Then she started seeing the woman in the house when she was awake. Uh, and they all kept leading to this person kept leading the lady to a filing cabinet of which they found a New York birth certificate for a woman simply named Elle who was born in 1941. So this lady carried the birth certificate back to the yard sale where she bought it at, and the owner had said that the cabinet had come with the house. Like it wasn't hers. She just because when she bought the house, it came with the house. Uh, so this lady actually spent a week trying to track down who this birth certificate belonged to, um, and couldn't figure it out and stuff like that. And so it's like this lady's just like being cursed with a dream, stuff like that. Just yelled out saying, "Hey, Elle, if you want something from me, just fucking help me." That night, the fire alarm went off in their house, and this lady and her husband awoke to find the birth certificate was burning in the kitchen sink. Elle was never seen again, and that was that.
Hmm. Sometimes you just gotta yell at it.
That's what I always say. Just
Yeah,
fucking
it's
yell
always
at
one
it.
of my
Yeah,
go-tos. Like, stuff's not like working out. You like punch it, yell at it and stuff, spit on it. Not
smack
people,
it,
just stuff.
smack it, flip it, rub it down.
Yeah, hit it with a bat.
Oh no, yeah, yeah.
Mm. But speaking of crazy broads, inside the Baker Mansion. Okay, tell me if you know where this is. In Altoona, USA.
Altoona is the name of a city. Fuck, where is that? Is it like Ohio or something?
It doesn't even say.
Pennsylvania?
See,
Because that
Altoona,
wasn't.
USA, like it's one of the fucking like it's a state. But the wedding dress of Anna Baker, who fell in love with an iron worker. Legends claim that Anna eloped from her home to get married to her lover, but her father forcefully brought her back and locked her in the bedroom. She then refused to marry anyone else and spent the rest of her life alone. After her death, the members of the Baker family reported spotting Anna's wedding dress in different places around the house. Some of them even saw the spirit of Anna Baker moving around the house, dressed in the same wedding dress. So, haunted wedding dress.
Yeah, yeah. No, Altoona is in Pennsylvania, but it's also
Ah,
called
okay.
Altoona, USA. Gets referred to a lot because it's one of those things. That go, it was kind of weirdly famous. I think back in like the vaudeville kind of like vaudeville days sort of thing, and Altoona, USA sort of stuff. I think that's why I had some vague memory of it.
Okay,
Because
that
I
makes
like
sense.
I like that weird stuff. So, haunted wedding dress. Yeah, for sometimes that happens to them all. Just saying.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's just kind of weird. Um, let's do some fun. Tell you what. So there was a lady who went and picked up a vintage rocker and a stenciled blanket chest at an estate sale of an elderly woman who was actually murdered by a relative. And she would talk about the fact is like after buying this sort of stuff, she would took it all home and stuff like that. And like the blanket chest, which she turned into like basically her coffee table, she'd wake up in the morning, come downstairs, and would find it flipped on its side or in varying positions that were never the same. At the time, she had small children, and the blanket chest was way too heavy for the kids to kind of flip it around. So that's kind of weird. And then when the kids would always get up like on the Saturday morning to watch their cartoons, would jump downstairs to go get their cereal, they would always notice the rocking chair would be rocking on its own. So yeah. The lady eventually just ended up selling the rocker at a yard sale and basically just beat the shit out of that blanket chest and threw it off and threw it in the garage. So yeah, so that happened.
Yeah,
Weird like furniture stuff.
my aunt had, well, great aunt had a room upstairs in her house that was like, just that room you don't go into. And we'd be at her house partying. She was kind of like a rich eccentric lady, but we'd be up there with my cousins, and we'd open the door, and there'd be a rocking chair in there that would be rocking, and we would all freak out thinking the house was haunted and be terrified. But turns out when you open a door to a closed room, you let the AC in that pushes the chair and kind of moves it.
Well, yeah, that's bound to happen. I mean, there's been tales of stuff like that. I actually, I had I don't know, weird little clown thing that's supposedly haunted, though it's never done anything around me, so I don't know how haunted it really is.
Yeah.
But that's what they tell me, and I go, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, they go, do you want to own this? I go, sure, why not? But it's haunted, so that doesn't change. It's still kind of cool. I mean, I'm down.
Yeah.
It's if I'm the one. If it's gonna be crazy and dumb.
So this story is way too long to read, but I'll kind of give you the gist of it. So in Manchester, England, there's a cursed statue of Michael Jackson.
There was a cursed living person that was named Michael Jackson too.
Yeah. Commissioned by a business magnate, friend of Jackson, and Fulham Football Club owner Mohammed Al Fayed to commemorate the time Jackson came to a match in 1990. The plaster and resin likeness of the King of Pop had been installed in the back of the Hammersmith stand of Fulham's Craven Cottage Stadium beneath a wall reading Michael Jackson, the tribute. Blah, blah, blah. 2013, when Fayed sold the club, Saeed Khan letter was for include during himself to the masses, blah, blah, blah. Basically, what happened is he tried to, he sold the club, and the guy was like, all right, we're going to get rid of this fucking statue. And he's like, how dare you? You can't get rid of that statue. You get rid of the statue, this whole building is going to be cursed, and you can't, you'll never run it again. And in 2013, all the fans were like, yes, please get rid of the fucking statue. So they got rid of the statue, and, stopped making money, and the place went out of business.
Oh, good for. I don't know how to. Just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, I care about my friends, but I'm not going to be like, what my place needs? A 7.5 foot tall statue of my bro Jeff.
you never know. It might be the must-have Christmas gift one year. I'm just saying.
7.5 feet tall. I don't know about that, man.
Just like this,
Yeah.
7.5 feet tall. um,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Tallman family's bunk beds. This is I really love this story. I figure I was saving this one for when it's almost time. So back in 1986, the Tallmans moved to Wisconsin, and they bought a
Wisconsin.
second. Wisconsin. They bought a secondhand set of bunk beds for the kids for like about $100. Um,
Not bad.
yeah, yeah, not bad at all, even for that day. What's interesting, in fact, is they bought that. So they moved in '86. They bought those in '87, and in '88 they moved out of the house and buried the bunk beds in a landfill, hoping they would never set eyes on them again. Now, here's why. So when they brought the bunk beds home, they supposedly brought something weird and different like that. Anything like that. First off, they began seeing strange shapes in their house, hearing voices that didn't
And
belong to
shapes,
anybody. Shapes, yeah, just like shadow people, sort of thing.
like triangles and
Uh,
octagons and stuff.
Yeah, it's like dodecahedrons. I'm not sure. They don't really get into
Ah,
detail. My guess is more humanoid.
that's the
Uh,
scariest sounding shape.
is it dodecahedron? Yes. Uh, hearing voices, clock radios kept changing channels by themselves, and the furniture would move when no one was looking. And supposedly there was like an apparition of an old woman would appear without warning, like just out of nowhere. Um, So they were determined to get rid of the. Basically, they figured out what the issue is. Is obviously is these goddamn bunk beds, because that's what I think of when I'm being haunted by people. I go, well, obviously it's the kids' bunk beds. Um, so basically, they did is they got done with it, and they just like literally they tore it apart, broke it apart, and then went to the landfill and buried it. Buried these bunk beds in the landfill, and they sold their house and moved out. Now,
Bunk
so,
beds are tall, like even like sideways. That'd be a bitch to fucking dig a hole in a junkyard
well,
for a
my
fucking
guess
bunk
is
bed.
they probably took an axe to it and just broke it up. They probably
Yeah,
like a cursed thing. They probably scattered it throughout the landfill so it's not all together. Like when you're trying to kill some like cursed demon thing, you cut off its head and appendages and you bury them separately so they can't
yeah, that
reform.
makes
I don't
sense.
know. But yeah, supposedly anybody who's lived in the house since has never had any issues as far as the supernatural or anything like that. So it's good. It's cool. It does kind of remind me of. There's actually a movie out there from the 70s, and I think it's available now. You can watch it elsewhere. It's called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats People. Um, and there's a really great Patton Oswalt bit about it, but the movie really exists, and the deathbed, the bed that eats people, and that's the title of the movie. And I'm always going to refer it to as that, not just deathbed. No, it's the deathbed, the bed that eats people. Um,
Got to
it's
say the full
fascinating.
name every
Yeah,
time,
it is.
even
It's
the
that's how it
that
works.
eats people part.
Yeah, it's like the assassination of Jesse James by that coward Robert Ford. It's those sort of things you got to say the entire way through, just because that's just how it goes.
A pimp named
No,
Slickback.
yeah, that's a pimp named Slickback. That's how it always works. But it's at first like if it wasn't for the timeline wise, I figured this was the inspiration for that story. But the like literally the deathbed the bed that eats people uh, was written back in the 70s. So it came out in the 70s. And if you guys ever get a chance to listen to the bit by Patton Oswalt about Deathbed, the bed that eats people, it is hysterical. But I'm a huge Patton Oswalt fan, and he's hysterical as MODOK right now on the MODOK series on Hulu. Go watch that.
I've heard about that. I might give that a try.
It's fun. It's all claymation style, like Robot Chicken. Uh,
Oh yeah, I do like me some claymation.
so yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so yeah, and like yeah, Patton Oswalt doing the voice of MODOK, and not
Yeah,
Deathbed, the bed that eats people.
yeah. Speaking of deathbeds, you ever heard of the Purple Sapphire of Delhi?
No, I have not.
um, After stealing this gem from the Temple of Indra in 1857, don't steal shit. What the fuck? See what happens? Uh, Colonel W. Ferris almost immediately fell into the economic despair. Then a friend of his committed suicide while wearing the gem. Sometime later, a friend of Oscar Wilde's had the gem and fell into a sense of a series of misfortunes that led him to throw away the sapphire 3 times. After each attempt to rid himself of the gem, it would appear at his home. I think he was
That's
friends with Oscar Wilde. I think he was just drunk, like, I need to throw that thing away. And then, like, the next morning, he's like, oh my God, it's back.
that's fair. I mean, Oscar Wilde was known for being a bit of a lush, and also known to like he's probably also the one who probably turned the tail for this guy to freak out over this thing too. Yeah, I don't understand what this
Yeah.
change like this why it's here. And like Oscar was, oh really? Maybe perhaps it's cursed, so that's why you're stuck with it all this time. Ha ha ha!
Yeah. Or he'd
Suck
watch
my
him
dick.
throw it away and bring it back. Like,
Oh, just to fuck with him? Yeah, I'd like to like. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would never do such a thing like that. That not at all.
yeah.
Or not that I haven't done that. And yeah. Anyway, We're almost out of time. I'm going to do one more, and I've heard you do one more, and we'll get out of here. And I'm going to go I'm going to go classic. I'm going to go old school about talking about something. I want to talk about the Woman of Lem, which is a statue that now currently resides in the Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. But how it got there was kind of weird. Um, so basically, what we believe to be is the Woman of Lem statue is basically kind of like an old school, like goddess fertility statue, which is usually the ones that kind of like you don't really see a head, but it's like really big, kind of lady, vaguely lady looking. Um, it was actually been around since 3500 BC, but it was recovered in Lem, which is called the Lady of Lem, Cyprus, back in 1878. It had
Mm.
before being in the museum, it had at least four owners, all of which have died within 6 years of receiving it. There was Lord Elfont. All seven members of his family died within 6 years of the statue's arrival to their home. All seven. There's Ivor
Mm.
Minucci's family, the owner number two, that all went within 4 years, as did the family of Lord Thompson Noel, who was owner number three. Owner number four was Sir Alan Beaverbrook, what a horrible name, and his wife and two daughters, of course, went as well. But before it was finished, the family entirely, the two remaining sons donated the statue to the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh to keep themselves alive. Here's the fun thing: the curator who accepted said donation died within the year of receipt of the statue.
Mm. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm. Cursed statues. Man, we talked about a lot of cursed stuff.
yeah.
We kind of we didn't get into this much last week. We just talked about some other fun stuff, but last one, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember this happening. Well, part of it, not like, the curse part, but the mummy of Otzi, aka the Iceman. Remember we're talking about mummies? Yeah, yeah. Otzi, aka the
Callbacks.
Iceman, yeah, was found in 1991 in the Otzo Alps, Italy. It is believed that the Iceman belonged to 3000 BCE and his body was preserved because of the glacier that surrounded him after he died. However, soon after his discovery, people who were involved with his discovery began to die due to violent accidents. Forensic pathologist Rainier Henn died in a horrific car accident. Mountaineer Kurt Fritz died in an avalanche, and hiker Helmut Simon died after falling from a dangerous hidden path. People believe that the discovery of Iceman is a curse and has the power to destroy mankind. Yeah, that's a good way to end it. Destroy mankind.
Destroy mankind. Yeah,
Destroy mankind.
that's a way to. Yeah, there we go. Let's nice upbeat. There we go, everybody. It's nice and upbeat, just for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in
What I
this
do
sort of
for you
stuff.
people.
Yeah. So yeah, this is we're talking about haunted objects. We'll probably revisit this subject at some point because there's a lot of haunted objects out there, so it might be fun. Maybe at some point we may have a guest or two, hopefully.
Yeah.
Let's get plugged.
Maybe we
Let's
can
get.
just do like haunted objects that are involved with Fred and Lorraine Warren, and we'll just groan and bitch the whole episode.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like just going. Oh fuck! Just there's a lot. Let's talk about the Amityville house. Let's talk about this. Oh, the
Talk
fucking.
about Annabelle.
Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
Annabelle.
them.
Yeah, just
Let's
there's
talk
just
about how they ruined, how they weren't even invited to half the places they went.
no. I'm willing to bet they weren't at half the places they were at. It said they were.
They weren't.
I don't know. It's just
They would hear about it on the news and show up, and be like, "Yeah, we got this." Look around, and be like, "Yep, you're haunted," and leave, just so they could document that they were there.
yeah. Throw the sunglasses on like CSI Miami, going. Ah! Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what's going on. Let's get plugs out of the way. You got anything you need to plug?
This Friday, June 4th, I will be opening for the Rocky Horror Picture Show at Warehouse Live. I believe it's 18 and up. It's definitely an 18 and up show. Bring your kids if you want. I don't care. I'm gonna say fuck a lot. Then
So it moved over
the
to
5th,
Warehouse.
I've got a huh?
Oh, it moved over to Warehouse.
Yeah,
Wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it White Oak?
yeah. I think they're doing it. They're gonna move back to White Oak, but they did the benefit for Rocky at Warehouse.
Uh,
So I
okay,
think
I was
they
just
might
curious.
have it. I think they're just doing it there again, and they're gonna go back to doing it at White Oak. I'm not sure.
They may
I'm
have
not
something
part
else
of the Royal
booked.
Order of Chaos, but they do like me, and I probably will be working with them a lot
Yeah, they probably had something booked at White Oak, maybe.
now. Yeah, who
I
knows?
don't know. So
And
anyway,
I'm kind of
fourth
bummed
goes.
because I was going to do my bit and then run off inside of White Oak because Sasquatch is going to be there.
This, by the way, everybody, this is Houston, Texas. We're talking about this, where just for those people maybe watching elsewhere, because we do have people watching, which
Yeah,
we
so come to
appreciate you.
Houston.
Yeah, or don't. I don't know. What else you got going on?
Saturday, I got a party nobody's allowed to come to. It's a kid's birthday party. That's about it.
Cool. So for myself, I got the channel. That's what's going to have. Like we've got. I'm showing the Fast and the Furious on right after this, but it's not that one you're thinking of. Uh, just stay tuned and watch it. It's going to be completely strictly on Twitch, so people watching this on the other formats where I'm broadcasting this, which is kind of cool because we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. Make sure to go to twitch.tv/Carney Show to watch that funness. And then tomorrow, same this time at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, Planet Lisdom. Liz from Canada is going to be talking with Rochelle from Squidworks Media, who's like this really amazing artist and like tattoo person from Canada, America's hat.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 8 o'clock, I got the Devil's Hour, and I got lots of fun things on there, like this really cool band from LA called Paris, Texas. I got a really cool band from Mexico called Hocico. And then I think I'm working to bring in a little bit of Mysterion in too, so it's gonna be a lot of fun, along with the other weird shenanigans I always have on the Devil's Hour. Then on
Wait, is
Thursday,
Hocico like a goth industrial band?
they are.
I did a show with them once.
Yeah, they have like 5 records out, and it's amazing. They have a really
Yeah,
cool.
I
It's
did
really
a
good.
Mike Terror opened for them once.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good band. They're good guys.
Yeah,
So
they're really cool. I like them.
they're a lot of fun. And then Thursday, I've got the G Spot where I'm talking with a sideshow performer from out of New York City by the name of Rob Romeo, who works at the Odd World Danger Show with like Kita, our good friend Kita St. Cyr. So I'm going to talk with Rob. It's a lot of fun. He's a maker. So Rob's like our Broken, for lack of a term for trash fire speak. Rob's the maker, just like we have Broken, who's our maker. Uh, and so it's gonna be a lot of fun, and then we'll have some fun stuff afterwards. And then next week for us right here on the Gaffing the Truth is we're gonna be talking because we're gonna talk about cryptids, but we're trying to get fun with it, and we're gonna talk about strictly cryptids from a specific location. So we figured it'd be fun to talk about stuff from Australia. So we're gonna talk about Australian cryptids. So
Hell
tune
yeah.
in as we have these weird names. But, well, to be fair, all cryptids have weird names. But so like Australian cryptids, which is a lot of fun. There's a lot of weird shit out of like Australia that are cryptids, and it turns out no, they're real. It's just nobody would believe it until
Yeah.
whatnot.
We're just gonna talk about the crocodile hunter and probably say crikey a lot.
Oh, that's also very true. Yeah, we're gonna like shrimps on Barbies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
But
anyways,
mad
thank you
respect
guys
to
for.
Steve Irwin.
Yeah, no, yeah, the Irwin's dead. So everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Be safe, be cool, be groovy, and as always, keep drinking, everybody. See you soon.